Welcome back to the Naxxramas Raid Guide. In this video I'll be covering Heigan the Unclean, the boss found immediately after completing Noth the Plaguebringer in the Plague Wing. My name is Ciderhelm from TankSpot, and like all these videos, they're intended for full raids rather than just for tanks, so please feel free to share it with your guilds. Right now I'm standing on the platform. The reason I'm showing you this room before we get into the actual encounter is so you can get an idea of where each of the locations around this room are, because it's going to be very critical to movement throughout the fight. I've shown you roughly the entire room, now imagine it divided up into quarters. I'm going to run off the platform over to quarter 1. This is quarter 1, where the melee DPS and the tank are going to start with Heigan. The ranged DPS are going to stand on the platform, and I'll explain that momentarily. Between quarter 1 and quarter 2, there's about this spot, which is about the break point. It might be a little off on this, but this is about the break point. And this is a safe point for quarter 2. Use the triangle in the middle there where I'm standing, and that's usually the best place to stand, or right near it. This is quarter 3. Between here and the edge of the wall here, that's where you're going to be anytime you're running between this and quarter 4. With that said, let's go ahead and start with the encounter. This encounter is about being in the right state of mind. You need to stay focused, and you need to concentrate almost entirely on yourself. Let me explain the first movement phase of this encounter, and then I'll jump into the actual mechanics. Right now I'm in quarter 1, but watch for the poison field. As that poison field goes up, I move over to quarter 2. As that goes up, I go over to quarter 3. And then finally to quarter 4. I will turn them around at this point and go back to quarter 3. And then 2. Back to 1. Two. 3 and port. Now I move over to position 1 with the rest of the raid. Things start to speed up here. Notice all the range should move off the platform. Quarter 2. Quarter 3. Quarter 4. Turn. Quarter 3. Quarter 2. Quarter 1. Quarter 2. Quarter 3. Quarter 4. Quarter 3. And quarter 2. Almost every time you do this encounter, people will die. The main thing you need to keep in mind as you do this encounter is that it does not matter if people die. I know as a raid leader, one of the things that's going to be very stressful as you're going through this, you're going to see red bars pop up, you're going to see people die, you're going to see the priest turn into the holy death priest that they turn into. You're going to see all sorts of bad things go on. You cannot worry about it. You cannot worry about other people. You worry strictly about yourself. As you'll see, we're going back to quarter 1 here, and we're going to go back through this run phase. Now while we're doing this, I'll explain why people are standing on the platform and why they're moving off the platform. People are standing on the platform, particularly the range. All of the casters are going to be standing on there because they need to have a particular range from Heigan throughout the encounter. Otherwise they take 2 potential spells which are not good. One is Spell Disruption, and Spell Disruption actually increases the cast time of any casters that are near Heigan by 300%. That's the reason the casters stay on the platform while the melee move through here, and he has to be fairly far away from the platform during this time. He also casts something to nearby players called Decrepit Fever. This is a disease that can be removed. It reduces your max health and it deals damage over time while it's active. So you want to get that off the melee as soon as possible if you're a healer. The other thing, the reason the the reason everybody moves off the platform during that second phase is because if you're on the platform when he ports up there, he deals a ton of damage to people who remain there. One healer can keep the tank alive with no problem from the platform as long as they're both going through here, they're not getting hit by these poison fields, and they're going from each quarter to quarter in the correct progression. There's not a whole lot of tank damage here. So what that actually means here is that if you're a healer, you do not want to be focused on other people's health bars while you're doing your running phase. While you're going through this faster phase where we're doing this here and you have to be running back and forth. Do not focus on other people's health. If they get clipped, they'll take a dot, they'll die. It will happen, there's no way to avoid it. Do not look at their health bar. It's one of the traps people are going to fall into early on. They're going to think, oh, I can get this cast off, or maybe it's an instant cast, and then you look the wrong way, you focus the wrong way, and you're dead. And then you get back out, none of the healers are up, the tank dies, obviously, everybody else dies as well. So as a healer, you've got to get out of the mindset of worrying about other people during the kite phase. You have to worry about yourself. Only you need to stay alive. As a tank, this is going to be, hopefully you have 2 tanks, because going through Naxx you should have 2 tanks for just about everything. That said, if the secondary tank has has thrown on a lot of DPS gear or has no possible way of jumping into tanking in a pinch, with either 1 tank or 2 tanks, it is more imperative that you understand this rotation, you learn it very quickly. Ideally, you never make a mistake doing it. This will get stressful after a while because you're going to be doing this through potentially a lot of wipes, depending on how long it takes your guild to actually clear through this, and how long it takes people to really get used to this movement. So as you're going through there, as a tank, you have to be focused, you have to make sure that you understand this, you have to make sure that you do not make a mistake. It will be more stressful for you, that's the name of the game here. Now one of the things about this, when I'm saying one healer can heal you, watch my health bar through this encounter. There is a Decrepit Fever, again, that can bring my health down more significantly. That said, I am not at any point remotely concerned about his melee damage. At no point do I feel that he can actually kill me and actually bring me down. I will turn my back to him just for the sake of movement. I'll turn my camera around. When I turn my camera around, I'm not actually turning my player around in most cases, like right here. I will do just about anything I can do to get an advantage in terms of movement. I will not concern myself with the actual damage I'm taking from his melee. That also means that in this particular raid, where I've got several new players, everyone in this raid except for myself in this particular video, everyone was new to this. So I wanted to have people stand on top of me during this time, which is why I moved him the way I did. By having people stand on top of me, that does increase when the melee is in there. By having people do that, it does increase his chance to parry. You do not want to do that on almost any raid boss, but this is the exception. So keep that in mind. It's okay here. He's not going to do enough damage in melee. You don't have to worry about parries. Go ahead and stand on top of your tank if you're still learning this. Just make sure that you're still alive at the end of this. Also keep in mind, as a tank, when you are moving him, he does have a large hitbox, and also keep in mind that he does have to stay away from that platform a pretty good distance like I'm keeping him. Thank you for listening to this raid guide. Feel free to stop by TankSpot.com for any other additional information you wish to know about this encounter. Thank you.